So, now you have to understand my problem here. Now coming to speak after Dr. Velumani speaks is like coming to bat after Virat Kohli bats. You don't know what to do. It's like being released on the same day as Rajinikanth movie, you know. You have no choice. So sir, I really don't know what to say now. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm definitely not as entertaining, for sure. I'm definitely not a great storyteller like Dr. Velumani. But would like to thank the Madras Management Association for the privilege. In fact, I was just telling Kavita that my journey today was worth it because today is my father's birthday, in fact. Thank you. But I decided to be here because last year, exactly about a year ago, 2017, Kavita had invited me, but I had let her down. I told her I would be coming, but I came all the way to Coimbatore. Then for whatever reason, I left back to Hyderabad. But today, in fact, I'm delighted I'm here because I got to hear Dr. Velumani and also got to meet all of you. Thank you very much for this honor, opportunity. To all the distinguished gentlemen on the dais and off the dais and the ladies and all the Madras Management Association delegates. My compliments to you because this is a wonderful show. In fact, I've been told Arvind Subramaniam was here. So was Mr. Kirmani, Padma Shri Kirmani ji. Now we get to hear from a very, very successful entrepreneur, the 149th richest man in India. I think 148 is Mukesh Ambani, sir. So he's doing very well, I must tell you. I come from the youngest state in India. I come from the young state of Telangana. In fact, Telangana is the newest state that has been created. We've been created about 3.5 years ago. In fact, this theme, learning to grow. I don't think anybody can tell a better story than, at least represent a better state than Telangana when it comes to this theme, because I keep calling my state a startup state. We've just begun our journey about 3.5 years ago, and we continue to grow and we continue to create a lot of new records, a lot of new benchmarks in the country. You must be wondering, what are these benchmarks? What are we doing? What are we doing differently? Etc., etc. Let me tell you the story quickly. 1952, well, 1947 is when India got its independence. 1948 is when Telangana got its independence. In fact, a year later, because Madras presidency and the rest of the country was under the British. But Telangana, the Hyderabad state, was under Nizam. So we were liberated a year later. From 1948 until 1952, Hyderabad state was a separate state. And in 1952, from Madras presidency, the Andhra region got separated and they became Andhra state. And in 1956, 4 years later, after Andhra state was created, Andhra and Telangana were merged together, and the new state of Andhra Pradesh, which was in existence till 2014, came into being. But this was a marriage of unequals. This was a marriage of two states which were very different from each other. So the marriage did not last long. Well, it did last 50 plus years, but still, there was a lot of bickering, there was a lot of tension, all the things that Mr. Velumani said you should not be doing, we did all that. So therefore, the marriage did not last forever. 2014, the divorce happened. The new state of Telangana came into being amidst a lot of doubts. There were a lot of doubts about the city of Hyderabad. What would happen to the city of Hyderabad? What would happen to the investment climate there? What would happen to new investments coming in? What would happen to the erstwhile state of Andhra, etc., etc. A lot of problems is where our journey started. In fact, we started as a power deficit state. We did not have enough power to give to our industry. We did not have enough power to give to our domestic sector. We did not even have enough power to give to our farmers. We were only giving 6 hours of power supply to the farming sector. This was the case about 4 years ago. But in the last 4 years, let me tell you, my friends, we've covered some significant ground. In fact, as a new state headed by a dynamic Chief Minister, Shri K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who led the struggle for the state of Telangana for 15 years, he had the passion, he had the commitment, he had the resoluteness to change a few things. And that is where the theme learning to grow, because as a new state, when we started our journey with a clean slate, because when you begin afresh, when you want to make a fresh beginning, there's one good thing and one bad thing. The good thing is, there's no burden of legacy. You don't have to worry about what happened in the past. The bad thing is, there is a lot of legacy. which you still have to bear with nevertheless. So when we started our journey, we were a power deficit state. So within the first 6 months, our chief minister is a man just like Mr. Velumani, who comes from the grassroots. He's a first generation politician, came from nothing. He did not have his father, forefathers. He does not come from a wealthy background. He came all the way, fought his way up. So therefore his ideals, his goals were rooted in realities. When we started our journey, he said, let's get the basics right. So we started with the first thing, power. Within 6 months, the same thermal generation plants which were running with 60% PLF, because of our Honorable Chief Minister's daily monitoring. He had a dashboard on his screen every single day in the morning and evening. He was monitoring every single thermal power station. Within 6 months, the same thermal power station operated with 90+% of PLF. That was a record of sorts. We've even won awards from Government of India. Within 6 months, by way of improving grid connectivity, by way of raising internal efficiencies, by way of also going for renewable energy, today we are a state that is power surplus. We are not only self-sufficient, but we are able to actually give power to anybody else on the grid that would require it. That was the first thing we solved. The second thing, today in India, after 70 years of independence, we still have thousands of villages which do not have electricity. We may be talking about ISRO sending the 100th satellite. We may be talking about Mars orbiter mission. We may be talking about a lot of fancy things. But the fact of the matter is, we still have thousands of villages which do not have electricity. We still have millions of homes which do not have a drinking water connection. We still have a country where the Prime Minister, after 70 years of independence, has to appeal to his countrymen to build toilets. That's the country we live in, unfortunately. So we decided that we'll get the basics right. We embarked on a very ambitious project called Mission Bhagirath. Bhagirath, as you may be aware, is considered a Maharshi who put a Herculean effort to ensure that water was brought down. So when we started this project, Telangana's population, just to give you a sense of perspective, is about 4 crores. We have 1 crore homes, 10 million homes. When we started this project of envisioning that we shall give a portable drinking water connection to each and every home in the state of Telangana, it was a very ambitious, very lofty goal. Where do you get the water from? Where do you get the money from? Because this project, after we defined the scope, when we did the math, it was to cost us 50,000 crores of rupees. Because we had to lay 150,000 kilometers of new pipeline. We had to give a portable drinking water connection to each and every home. But our Chief Minister's vision, our Chief Minister's commitment was so full. He declared in the Assembly, this was about 3 years ago, he said, if I do not complete this project, I am not going to seek a re-election. This was his commitment. Today I'm happy to share with you, come this monsoon, July, we would have completed this project in toto and give water to each and every one of the 10 million homes in the state of Telangana. Now that's not the greatest thing. In India, in fact, a lot of governments, when they start learning, when they start doing new projects, we forget to synergize. In government, the typical problem is we have many, many departments. Each and every single department operates with blinders. We don't know what the next department is doing. The right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. One day you have a new roads and buildings department laying the road. The very second day you have the water supply people come and dig up the road. And the third day, somebody else relays the road. And the fourth day, once again, the phone company guy comes and breaks the same road again. We do not have a synergistic effort in government. I think that is one of the most important things we need to learn. So when we started thinking about this project, the Mission Bhagirath, the drinking water project, we said, what else could we combine in the same trench? Since we are going to be laying 150,000 kilometers of pipeline, since we would be digging up the entire landscape of the state, what else could we put in the same trench? So when we synergized, when we sat with our own team, we said we could be potentially, we could be combining 4 things. 1, the water pipeline, of course. 2, electricity. 3, pipe gas. 4, a communication cable, fiber optic. Since we did not have the money to put all four of them together. We only decided to combine two things. Since we didn't have the gas, we said, okay, pipe gas, we can leave it out. Electricity, it required a different level of engineering because water, electricity, potentially dangerous combination in spite of insulation. So we decided that we'll do it subsequently. But we decided to combine both water pipelines and communication cables. Now, by the end of this year, Telangana will not only be the first state in India to be giving a drinking water connection to each and every house, we'll also be the first state in India to have each and every home wired with a 15 Mbps connection to each and every panchayat, to each and every home. Now imagine the possibilities. Imagine the possibilities once this is done. A guy sitting in Kumbakonam, just to give you Tamil Nadu example, somewhere in Coimbatore or Kumbakonam or one of the region, villages, once you have your home wired, you can get access to the best of medicine, best of health, best of education. The best professor in the world could be beaming right into your drawing room through a satellite connection. And as you all know, future, Sir mentioned Geo. So I'm also going to reference that. Future is not of voice. Future is that of data. So once you combine data and voice and cable TV and bundle all of that into this fiber and beam it into the home and convert each and every one of your dumb TVs into a smart PC. Imagine the possibilities with governance. Imagine the possibilities how technology can usher in and help you learn and grow in terms of governance as well. I lived in the United States for 8 years after my education. I worked there. In the 8 years I lived there, I only had to visit a government office once in 8 years. And that was to a DMV office to get my license. Because obviously you have to take a driving license test, a driver's test to get a license. That was the only time I had to meet a government official. Point I'm trying to make is, if you learn and grow in governance, you will realize that maximum governance can be achieved with minimum government. You do not need too many government offices all over the place. You should not push your citizens to go and visit too many government offices. How did we change this? What are the areas we tried to change this? Our industries department, I'm the Minister for Industries. In our industries department, we took a close look. We said, how much time does it take for a person to get a clearance in the industries department? When we started and when we asked this question, people looked at us like we are fools. They said, it varies, it depends. It depends on the industry type. A red category industry can take 6 months or 12 months. Orange category industry, less polluting, can take 3 months. A green category can take maybe 3 months also. So we said, why this discretion? And when we started drafting our policy, industrial policy, our Chief Minister said simply, for you guys to get a perspective, since you're all management professionals, you have to understand time management as well. And even governments also need to understand time management. When we get elected in a democracy like India, we get 5 years. The first year typically goes in trying to understand our role and responsibility, in trying to realize what I can do, what I should not be doing, what I should be saying, what I should not be saying. And in the last year, once again, the entire year goes in fighting another election. So I'm only left with 3 years. If I really have to effect a change, if I really want to do something, accomplish something, unless I manage my time efficiently, I can't do it. So when we started developing our industrial policy, our Chief Minister only said one thing. He said, don't be ashamed to copy from the best policies. Imbibe, customize, make it your own. Don't just take it, whatever Los Angeles or Barcelona does or Singapore does and just blindly ape it. No, that's not what he said. He said, take the best elements, customize them to your needs. Make sure they fit into your scheme of things. Make sure they actually meet the local needs. So when we drafted our industrial policy, we had two things in our mind. We said, let's take the best, emulate them. Secondly, let's ensure that we take away the individual discretion and institutionalized change. So what we did was this. We passed in our assembly, the first policy we passed was in 2015, and this was the new act, the TS-IPAS, the industrial policy. I'll just give you 3 important features of this policy. In the state of Telangana, for example, if Mr. Velumani had a piece of land, a 10-acre piece of land, and he wanted to build a factory, he does not have to talk to the government before he starts construction. He can start construction on day 1 without any permission. This is called self-certification. As long as the investor believes that he or she is going to be in compliance with the law of the land, we allow you to start on day one, hit the ground running. The second thing I would like to mention, we have taken away individual discretion. We said, if any industry, when you start construction, only for regulatory purposes, we request that you submit an application online to us. And why is that? Because as a government, I need to know who's doing business in my state and what kind of business are they engaged in. Once I receive that application online, I only take 15 days to process it and to clear it. You must be thinking, I've heard this before. You must be thinking, I've heard this before. A lot of governments will tell you single windows, timely clearances, you know, the same nonsense that gets mentioned by every minister, every state. How is Telangana any different? We are different because if I don't deliver on the 15-day promise, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval. It's an approval by default. No other state in India will tell you this. And also, on the 16th day, it's not only a deemed approval. It's in fact, if a clearance is not given in 15 days, if there is a delay, from the 16th day, even the senior most IAS officer in my department will get fined a sum of rupees 1,000 per day till such time as they clear it. No other state in India will tell you this either. So this is what we've done, wherein the individual discretion goes out of the window, the change is institutionalized. It does not matter who the secretary is. It does not matter who the officer is. What matters is whether your industry should be given a permission or not. That's all matters. So that is what we've done, which brought about a significant amount of change. In fact, if you're wondering, this sounds too good to be true, is this guy dreaming or does it work? It does. In fact, in the last 2 years, we gave more than 6,000 clearances, out of which more than half are already in commercial production stage. We've attracted more than 1,20,000 crores of investment, and we've created more than 300,000 jobs. That is the reason why Telangana today is the fastest growing economy in the country, and Telangana is also the #1 state on ease of doing business in the country, as ranked by Government of India and World Bank together. Telangana's story is compelling, but I think the larger picture of learning to grow as a country, India. India today, in fact, is sitting on a huge potential. Now, everybody will tell you that. Prime Minister Modi to man on the ground, everybody says India is a great story. India is a great story not because Prime Minister tells you so or I say so. India is a great story because the world realizes that India is a gold mine today. It's a huge opportunity. The demographic dividend that everybody talks about. More than 50% of India is less than the age of 27. More than 65% of India is less than the age of 35. The reason why I mention this is because the world is aging. India is getting younger. And as young as you get, the more agile you are and the more results you can get in a knowledge economy. In a knowledge economy where information is power. Where it doesn't matter whether you're Ambani's son or somebody's son. What matters is what you have here and what you can do with it. The reason why I say this is because we all addicted to social media. Twitters, Facebooks, WhatsApps, and bunch of other things that people use. If you think about it, none of them are earth-shattering inventions. None of them are rocket sciences. It's not complicated stuff. It's extremely simple. But the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, among the 1.32 billion Indians, or among the 650 million young Indians that I just spoke about, none of us actually could build something like that and offer to the world. Now, this is where India's potential is. This is why I see a huge hope for India. Because the young Indians today are restless. They have the aspirational value. They want to actually change the world. They actually want to really conquer the world. And I think that is where India's power lies. And that is where the world realizes that India has a huge future. Management professionals, all of you, as you grow in your career, in fact, a lot of times I get told that as a government, Telangana government thinks like a corporation. In fact, a lot of times when people meet me, they say that it doesn't sound like I'm talking to a politician. It feels like I'm talking to a management professional or a corporate executive. The fact of the matter is, in India, if we really have to achieve that potential, Governments have to start thinking like private organizations, and private organizations sometimes also have to start thinking like governments. I'm not saying pick up the bad examples or bad traits of a government. All I'm saying is the social concern that is so palpable in every government, good, bad, ugly, all forms, that also needs to be imbibed by the private sector a bit. The corporate social responsibility we keep hearing about every so often, if the private sector can pick up a few of those and also work closely with the government, I think we can certainly grow together and we can continue to prosper and achieve the full potential of India. I have nothing more to say. I have forgotten all my speech after listening to him. So all blame on him because I'm not able to speak. But thank you very much for this opportunity, Kavita and the entire team. Once again, a delight being here.
ఏంటండి వీడియో నచ్చిందా? అయితే ఓ లైక్ వేసుకోండి, లేదంటే ఓ కామెంట్ చేయండి. ఎప్పటికప్పుడు మా వీడియోస్ చూడాలంటే సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి.